Ooh, gosh. Damn. Wayne Kerr. The good thing about this is that Maloney is now finished in boxing. Ooh, God. Price lacks the fundamentals. He has elite level power, but is at best a D at everything else. He shouldn't have fought Thompson in the first place. The rematch was just suicide. After the first fight, he should have sacked his trainer. Bring in someone world class, overhaul his style, and have a series of tune-up fights before going back to world level competition. Price is sadly done. I don't know, man. If he drops down to British level and European level, he can make a career of it. He doesn't, like, man, we're going to talk about some things in a minute, man. You know what I mean? Let's keep going. Let's keep going. Wayne Kerr says in another comment in reply to Tanyo12, who said Fury must be laughing his ass off. Wayne Kerr says, true, Fury is the more accomplished fighter, but his time will come because he can't hold a shot at heavyweight. If he steps in with Hay, he'll be brutally KO'd. Well, apparently David Hay has signed a contract. It's on Instagram, apparently, where Hay has signed some contract which indicates that
it's on and popping up in here, you feel?
What happened to you?
What?
You didn't used to be like this, Schmidt.
What are you talking about?
Wayne Kerr also replies to 83473, who said that the stoppage was premature. He says, premature? He was done. Stopping the fight was the right thing to do. Did you want to see him leave the arena in a stretcher? 834373 replies to that, from what I remember, the referee gave a standing 8 count. Price was ready to keep going, but it got stopped. I was drunk. I even recorded the fight, but for some strange reason, my skybox cut the last round off.
You got to admit that you are drunk, and y'all got to say it in harmonism.
Wayne Kerr replies to that and says, nah, he was done. He was physically exhausted. If anything, he motioned that he didn't want to carry on and was hardly upset that he was stopped. His reaction said it all. If he was ready to keep going, he would have made a fuss about the stoppage, but he didn't because he was too exhausted. I agree 100% with that. Devon582, it's called damage control. They would try to blame Lewis for their chin. He also says that Price is a contender for the weak chin championship. Laughing out loud, I thought he was the next K-brother, but I was seriously wrong. He seems to be implying that he thought that Price could have been a Klitschko type of figure. But that's not happening right now. Jab, jab, grab, 1, 2, 3. He says TG1 is full of shit. Laughing out loud. I haven't watched this Muppets video in a long time. And I suppose he's replying to what I was saying about TG1, the sort of like degrading the fight, degrading the combatants, and, you know, I just wonder why he bothers even watching fights at this level. Just watch Floyd and Andre Ward and the Unbeatens if that's all you seem to think is important about boxing is the guys who ain't took a loss. Then just watch them. But even most of the time they'll be fighting opponents who've took at least one L or got a draw on their record. So I don't know where you go from there. Apollo Dunn. He put money on Tony between rounds 4 and 6. Made a nice sum once again, laughing out loud. No heart, no conditioning. And I guess no heart, no conditioning is in reference to David Price. Apollo Dunn says, having said that, Price can still do something, but he's just too inexperienced, as you mentioned. He needs to go rounds and have some learning fights. He's only had 15 fights. Yeah. And it took him a long time to assemble in 15 fights. A very long time. Well, we're going to talk about all this in a minute. Hasenberg H.E. Warren. He doesn't like getting hit. Not many fighters do like getting hit, you know, but it is an occupational hazard that comes with the job. It's not that he doesn't like getting hit. He just doesn't know what to do when he does get hit. Don Tizzle, 805. It looked to me like Price quit. I'm not sure if he quit, but he seemed relieved that the referee stopped it. You know what I mean? Holy Roller TV. He says, in this climate of overhyping, I would say Price is finished in terms of his potential future earning power, based on the fact that he was supposed to be the second coming. Yeah, we'll never be able to look at him as this invincible force that they was trying to bill him as and build him up as. You know, that's been destroyed. That's been destroyed. It's been radically eradicated, wiped out and erased by Tony Thompson in 2 fights. You know, the first thing I want to start with is Tony Thompson. Tony Thompson has not got his due credit for the 2 fights. He went into both fights as the underdog, even though he convincingly dispatched of Price in the first fight. He still went in there as the underdog. He went in the other man's backyard fearlessly and done what he had to do. And there has been too much focus on what David Price has done wrong and not enough focus on what Tony Thompson did right. You know, he fearlessly, from the second round, he just started to walk down David Price. Very clever tactic. Very clever, because what he did, he started to walk David Price down, but he wasn't that aggressive where he was just throwing haymakers, no. And he didn't go high volume either, because he knew the presence of him coming forward and throwing feints like he's going to do something made Price start mentally burning up energy. The sheer presence of the man coming forward at him made Price start burning up mental energy, made him start working harder than what he wanted to work. Very good, clever tactic. Very clever tactic. That's an experienced boxer. Keeping Price mentally occupied, not letting him settle down behind a jab and fight a lazy fight if he wanted to do that, you know. And it paid off for him in the later rounds. His combination punching was really good as well. It was really good. And he hasn't got the credit that he's deserved for what he's done in the 2 fights. Price was overhyped. Price was overhyped from day. You guys, Price fans and the management, the Box Nation, you need to stop approaching world level boxing like you have this entitlement to rule the world. You don't. You got to prove yourself. You got to prove yourself. And until you get to championship belt level, WBO, WBA, IBF, WBC level, you know, you need to humble yourself. You need to be more humble. You can't knock out Sam Sexton and then be talking about you're going to rule the world. That's not a benchmark opponent to say you're going to rule the world. That doesn't prove how hard you can punch. And I still don't think David Price is this killer puncher like you guys are saying. He hit my guy with a great punch and floored him. But most heavyweights can bang fairly hard. They're big men. They're big men. The biggest problem you're going to have with David Price now is after Box Nation and all the cheerleaders and the press were saying that Price is going to be the greatest thing ever before he fought anyone, before he did shit. How does he now motivate himself to fight at British, Commonwealth, Southern area, European level? Because just a few months back, it was a formality that he was going to win a crown. How does he motivate himself again now? That's going to be the biggest problem. Lennox Lewis, going to come down a bit hard on Lennox here. In a way, he deserved the blame to be hurled at him. In a way, he deserved it. Because, you know, look, man, there's a few things I didn't like about what I saw with Lennox Lewis on Saturday. If you're in the corner, you're in the corner. Because when I heard you were in the corner, I assumed you'd be on the ring apron with Franny Smith and the Waterman in a tracksuit doing your duties. What are you doing there on the ring floor giving advice for? It just looked a bit... That didn't look good. I'm not attributing that to the loss. But you know, Lennox, if you want to be a trainer, either get some fighters who are established already and ready to fight for world titles, or start from a fairly early level and cultivate your fighters. You know, the way he came into the camp was strange to me. I always thought it was a bit strange. It seemed a bit strange, you know. We've never heard of any of Lennox's coaching credentials before this. And you're either in the team or you're not. You should have been on the ring apron with the rest of the team. He was yards away from them giving advice, which was a bit strange. You know, I don't see how that works. Frank Maloney. Here's the history as far as I know. He had a heart attack when Darren Sutherland committed suicide. Darren Sutherland was a super middleweight or a middleweight who was a hot prospect who turned professional. And I don't know what happened in his personal life, but he committed suicide at a young age. And Maloney was managing him, and the stress of the events culminated in Maloney having a heart attack. And then apparently, I didn't learn this until just the other day after Price lost again. In the first fight with Tony Thompson, the shock resulted in Maloney having a heart attack. That's what people are telling me. I didn't know about that. He had a heart attack. And on Saturday, he blamed Lennox Lewis. And Lennox was unaware of this until today for the defeat. And then he seemed to try to dodge out of the question when the reporter asked, well, who brought Lennox into the camp? And he went kind of silent. And then the reporter reminded him that in the first fight, how stressed he was at Price losing. And then he broke into tears. He broke down. And then I'm going to culminate that with the fact that Maloney apparently didn't want Price to take this fight. He said himself out of his own mouth that he was nervous about this fight. Now, let's start with David Price and Frank Maloney. David Price doesn't have a lot of confidence anyway. So if you're his management and you're not confident about this fight and you've told us you wasn't confident about it, surely that's going to feed back into your fighter. I don't know how much time you spent with David Price in the build-up for the fight, but you're his manager. You should have confidence in anybody that you're pitching him in against. Yeah? Because I don't care if David Price wanted the fight. You made the fight. You're the manager. You matchmake. You pay the matchmaker. David Price chose to pay you for your services to manage his career. And if you wasn't happy about this fight, you should have put your foot down. You should have got Frank Warren into it and said no. And David Price wouldn't have had no choice. If you say no, David Price, where's he going to go? Where's he going to go? Sky Sports, maybe? No. Box Nation is one of the premier boxing channel in Britain, the only boxing channel. Sky handle all different sports. Yeah? If you, the manager, and the promoter Frank Warren said, look, Dave, you all right? I mean, this isn't just about you. You have shareholders invested in your share. You're going to fight who we tell you to fight. And we're going to tell you the Thompson fight is off the table for now. We'll drop you down a level, win you a British title, win you a European title, a Commonwealth, and maybe in a year and a half or two, we'll pitch you back in with Thompson. That was Frank Maloney's responsibility. And that didn't happen. And then Price's contractual obligations to both Maloney and Box Nation would surely rule out any chance of him making the final decision on opponents. Boxers don't get that option. Unless, I don't know, you're probably an elite guy like Floyd or Bernard. Or maybe the Klitschko's, I don't know. So the reason Frank Maloney had a breakdown is because he realizes he himself made a lot of mistakes. And the easiest thing for him to do was call out Lennox. You know what I mean? That was the easiest thing for him to do. And I'm sorry to all you guys who make comments, but Price does have heart. He does have heart. He just doesn't have killer instinct. You know, just because you're not an ultra aggressive or assertive guy, it doesn't mean that you don't have heart. Heart just means you have a willingness to carry on under pressure. And he showed he can do that. He just doesn't have no character. He has no color or flavoring. He doesn't have the will, the strength of will to do what he has to do. He does have heart, though. And he doesn't have the greatest chin, but I think his chin's not bad. He's not too bad. And one reoccurring theme you're going to find on a lot of my videos is this thing where we can just keep adding on to fighters and improving them. Look, there's always room for improvement. You can make your jab stiffer, get your conditioning better. You can do neck exercises and improve your capacity to take a punch on the chin. You can do that. You can do that. But all this, we can overhaul his style and make him have defensive instincts and sensibilities, make him have great stamina. You see, the thing is, you see stamina in boxing. You can't get it alone. You can't just run up hills and train really hard and get stamina. No, you can't. You can't. It's impossible. It's impossible. Unless you can fight your fight in your brain. In your brain, you won't be able to fight it in your physical. There's no point you doing all that training. If your brain can't operate in that ring, then your body won't. You can do all the training you want. If your brain hits the wall before your body, it's over. It's over. If your body gets tired, but you still got the willingness in your mind, let's not get it twisted. Fatigue is still going to be a factor. But the mind is much stronger in terms of you can still push on. You can still push on. And Thompson even spoke about that, come to think of it. He said his mind was still good. Even though he got floored, his mind was still good. He still thought he could win the fight, even when he got floored. You know? The mind is a dangerous thing, man. Mind is a fucking dangerous thing. Trust me on that. I'm just trying to think of some potential opponents for Price on a comeback. You know something? If Fury wants to go in there, I think Price should take it. And, you know, try and make a statement and iron him out. Why not? Why not? If he fancies his chances. Because this time, you can go in the ring and say, well, I've had my experiences. I've been bashed up by a world-class opponent. What have you did? What have you done? Can you take a punch and keep marching on? Now it's time for you to answer some questions. And you can throw that doubt in Fury's head. That's what you see. He's got to learn to play the mental game. You don't have to be crass. You don't have to be loud. But you have to learn how to play the mental game as well. This isn't just a physical game. And he has no mental game at all. Price has no mental game at all. Like Tyson Fury's thing is to just do mental things. And I'm not sure if it's going to work for him. But at least he's trying something. Price has no mental game at all. None. Yeah, well, I'm going to turn up at the Echo Arena, get redemption, and I'm going to try everything I can to get redemption. Your body language, he needs to maybe see a psychologist or something, man, or go on holiday somewhere. He needs to change his body language. And we saw a very good fight. And this was a very good fight. Price got off to a fast start. Thompson started coming back into it. Price came back into it at the end of the second. He floored Thompson in the third. I think he hurt him pretty badly in the fourth. Looked like he was going to get Thompson out of there. Thompson got back into it. Staggered Price in the fourth. Nearly had him out of there in the fifth. He finished it. Man, that's some good heavyweight boxing. It was fought at a good pace. You see, this is what I'm saying, man. You need to start giving Tony Thompson his due. This is heavyweight boxing, man. This is heavyweight boxing, right? So before you slam Price into the ground, especially all you guys who had great expectations of him and who want to write him off, here's why I'm not writing David Price off. This is heavyweight boxing. Do you know how hard it is for 6'5" men to maintain a pace like that and fight? The majority of heavyweights, if they was in that fight at that pace there, they would have got fucked up earlier than Price did. That's why I always remember a lot of people saying in heavyweight boxing from back in the day, you need a really good stiff ramrod jab to stop your man just coming through and you having to trade shots with him. You know, that's why you need that stiff jab to keep them on the outside so you can pace your fight. Thompson came inside the jab and he didn't always attack. He just wanted to give David Price something to think about, burn up his mental energy. Make him fight harder than what he wants to fight. He was daring Price to throw the right hand. He even said it after. You know? Good shit. Good fight. Good fight. everyone's saying, a few people are saying Price needs to go to America. And that doesn't work for everybody. Price is very short on confidence. Probably very close to his family. You know, boxing isn't the be all or end all. It's not the be all or end all. Some guys just don't have it. Let Price just conclude his career the way it's going to conclude. You know, you can't keep adding on to fighters, and if he hasn't got the will to do that, to go to America, you know, if he hasn't got the will to do what it takes to get there, he's just got to do it his own way. I just don't see Price going to America. I mean, he's a Liverpool lad at heart, you know, he's a homeboy. Don't see him going to the tough gyms there, you know, staying at somebody's flat. It's just, it doesn't have that much confidence. I don't think he's got the drive to do that. He's a big guy, but he's a gentle giant. You can see he's a gentle giant. He looks like a very approachable guy. What are the prospects for Tony Thompson? This is enough about David Price. What's the prospects? I mean, he is the top American heavyweight. There's no way Seth Mitchell should be fighting Vlad before Tony Thompson. I don't care if Thompson's been beaten twice by Vlad. Mitchell has done shit all. You know, that last fight was... Anyway, I mean, I don't want to accuse no fight of being fixed, but it was... I mean, I was watching Banks and Mitchell. Every time, we all assumed that Mitchell was the stronger man. But every time that Banks decided, I'm going to rough up this guy, he just roughed him up easy. He roughed him up really easy. And then he just went back into his shell. What happened there? You know? But then again, you know, give Mitchell his shot. You know? Give him his shot. Let's see how he does. Why not? If HBO are pushing him into that spot, let him have his shot. Let him have his shot. But maybe Thompson versus Fury, Jennings, Wilder, Stiverne, I don't know, Vitali. I mean, I'm not really that interested in the Fury and Hay fight. I will watch it and I'll be interested when it comes about. Let's not get that misconstrued. Yes, I am going to watch it. But David Price has been so inactive. I don't really like matchmaking him in fights. I meant to say David Hay, not Price. Because he was supposed to fight Pulev. Pulev was up for the fight. Why didn't you fight Pulev? You know what I mean? I mean, you're saying that, you know, you want to be this champion and beat Vitali. Well, if you knock out Pulev, who is generally by a lot of people talked up as being the danger man, then, you know, you just walk into the shot. Why does nobody want to fight Pulev? I mean, he's not the biggest puncher. He's not the biggest heavyweight. He doesn't do anything particularly brilliantly. He's efficient and he's good, but I don't know. Maybe he just ain't providing the payday. Maybe it's just that. But Thompson is gonna go home to smash up his wife's back and tear up the hip bone and everything. I put her in a wheelchair. You know what I mean, some hardcore sexing. You know what I mean. So good, dog. So good. He's a funny guy. You know, it's funny. You know, before the first fight, I didn't see or hear Tony Thompson talk very much. And I always had this assumption that he was a drab guy. I don't know why. But he's actually one of the more colourful talkers in boxing. He's a nutcase. He's a cool guy. You know what I mean? He deserves a big payday. He deserves more respect than what he's been getting. You know? It's not all about what David Price did wrong. A lot of it is what Tony Thompson did right. You know? And there was a lot of things he did right. You know, coming off the canvas against a knockout puncher. You see, it's this entitlement, you know. Price is so good and now he's been knocked off. We're just going to frame away. You can't frame away. Guy's a power puncher. He's a power puncher. David Price can bang. I don't think he's a Foreman puncher, but he can punch. He doesn't punch like his cheerleaders was hyping up his power, but he can punch. And he's going to put a few people on the floor before his career's finished if he continues. Trust me on that. He'll probably end with a few decent victories as well on his record. Yeah, I think Price could. I do think he could. I expect Tony Thompson to be avoided like the plague after this, though. Like the plague. because people are going to start doing the math and they're going to watch his first fight with Vlad. And he gave Vlad a very good fight. A very good fight. The second fight, he got blown away by an improving Vlad. And we obviously saw what he did in the last 2 fights, you know. So, Anthony Joshua next, and we're going to see how much hype goes behind Anthony Joshua, who I'm not going to say much at the moment. I'm going to do a bit more research. I'm going to do a bit more research on the guy, you know, before I put my 2 cents in. But for now, I'm going to say peace. Peace out. Peace.